What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today, we're going to be doing a showcase on one of my new favorite Void Legendary champions on my account in Tuhanarak, the Barbarian Support Legendary. And I was lucky enough to pull her in a recent 2x Voids event. And the second I seen her face, I was like, I know exactly what we're doing here. We're getting an instant upgrade to my Hydra clan boss team, and that's what I want to showcase in today's video. Now, this comp that I built around her is actually got no revivers, and it's also got no speed auras, which could be a little bit more relatable for you guys trying to take down the more endgame stages of the Hydra boss. But the showcase of the team I'm using today is against the brutal difficulty, but I'm going to discuss what I'm trying to do in order to get to the nightmare difficulty, using the same or potentially a similar team to what you see today. But guys, if you do enjoy the content, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We are trying to reach 20,000 as soon as possible. So I'll really appreciate if you guys can help me reach that goal. But alright, let's talk about Tuhanarak and then we'll get straight into the team. If you want to see a part 2 to this video where I showcase her in separate areas, please let me know in the comment section below. But the main use for me is going to be Hydra boss in this video. So on the A1 ability here with Sun's Kiss can attack one enemy and has a 50% chance of applying a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. We'll then place a 15% continuous heal buff on this champion for 1 turn and also another continuous heal buff on a target ally with the lowest HP. Now, if you think about having a single target, yes, it's not the best in the game, but when you consider she has a transferring of debuff effect on her A2, it actually starts to become a lot more valuable. So on this A2 with the Radiant Suffering, attacks one enemy, has a 100% chance of applying a decreased attack and a block buffs debuff for 2 turns. So 2 of the most crucial things for the Hydra boss guys in one skill set, and also applies a debuff spread effect, taking 2 random debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies. Now the way that I like to use this is, put it on the target that you know has a lot of debuffs already, so you've got an extra chance to spread debuffs on Hydra heads that might have got resisted from your other skill sets of your other champions. And also very strong for like PvP battles with like an Astrolith with the bombs, spreading it onto everybody. And just loads of universal ways you can use the Radiant Suffering. So very strong here. But one of the main reasons as well is the Desert Fitness can place a 60% increased defense, and then also a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. Now, the reason why this changes my account is, on my account, I always struggle to have an increased speed champion that brings utility. Now, one would be Lydia the Death Siren, right? But because I use a Ugo, she already has a drop defense, right? And it's just like, I'm just bringing in a champion just for increased speed and a weaken, but then I've got a Geomancer for weaken as well. So I just tried to find out a role of somebody that can fulfill that whilst bringing stuff that I really need. I.e. the decreased speed, the extra block buffs here, the decreased attack, and the increased defense. On the inviolable passive, how do you even say that? Inviolable? I don't know, one of them is probably right. But she will remove 1 random debuff from all allies at the start of each turn. Now think about Doom Priest and the value from her. This is now like a legendary version of a Doom Priest. Now, we don't get the full out passive heals, but we do get continuous heals, right? From the other parts of her kit. We'll then remove 2 random debuffs instead from allies under continuous heal. Now, because she's placing it on the ally with the lowest HP and herself with the A1, you start to remove 2 random debuffs from Tuhanarak, so if for some reason she does get debuffed, she has a chance to get straight back into the fight and place out the stuff from her other skills. We then have our ally accuracy in all battles by 70, so very strong for that lead position and allows you to pop off as many times as possible without getting resisted, right? So that was her skill set. Now, the way that I built this champion today is in a Perception / Stone Skin, and basically the 2-piece set will enable me to get an extra 40 resistance and 8% HP. Now, my end game goal, actually I'll talk about the stats in a second, is basically resistance, accuracy, and speed. So we want to be outlapping our allies to make sure we can cleanse as many debuffs as possible, i.e. the true fear from the Head of Torment, and that's pretty much the main things here. So we've got speed and accuracy, we've got speed and accuracy and resistance, we've got resistance on the chest plate, HP% on the gauntlet, speed on the boots. We have then gone for resistance on the banner, defense on the amulet, and then HP on the ring with a blood shield accessory. Now, the main reason for this one is mischief tanking. And because we've got her in high resistance, we want to have that extra buff on our Tuhanarak, so she is the main source of being a target. But we do also have other shield champions, but it's just that extra safety feature throughout the run. The overall stats here is 66,000 HP, a little bit on the low side of where I want it, but that's completely fine. It's kind of like a work in progress. We've then got 2.8k defense, 2,000 attack, and then we've got 255 speed. We've got high resistance, which I'm trying to push over 500 to make sure that I can do the Nightmare Hydra boss. And then we've got 335 accuracy, which I want closer to 400 for Nightmare as well. So hopefully with like artifact ascensions and some glyphing, I'll be able to reach the stats that I'm dreaming of on my Tuhanarak. Or maybe like a blessing or something to like help reach the other stats so I can optimize other ones. Now, masteries. I was actually thinking maybe I could go for like maybe some resistance from the defensive tree or eagle eye for accuracy. But I've gone with War Master. Now, she doesn't deal a bunch of damage, so I'm not sure if this is the best way to go. But I'm going to be showcasing that in today's video. Because she does around 1 to 2 million damage. It's nothing like substantial. And I'm just thinking, do we sacrifice that once I get to Nightmare? I don't know, it's something I could think about. But we're going down to War Master and the support tree trying to optimize our stats here. So that is the gear, the stats and the masteries and everything that I built on my Tuhanarak. And now let's bring up the team of what I'm using today. Which is going to be something like this. Now we've got no speed aura like I said and no revivers. Well, Ugo kind of classes as a reviver, but the way that it works is very rare that we're going to be able to see that in action, right? Because she has to be the last one alive. So Geomancer for the burns, Tuhanarak as well, which could be in the lead position. And we've also got no Inquisitor Shamail in this composition. So the only way that we're tackling the Head of Torment is with her passive by removing debuffs and hoping that the true fear is the one that is removed. We've then got a Husk for the max HP. We've got Snick Track, which is one of my favorite champions for the shield and also the decreased attack with the leech. And then a Coroner to take down the Head of Decay when he decides to pop up, which he likes to do in this run that you're about to witness. Now, Ugo could be replaced here because she does do drop defense, but so does Coroner, as long as they're under decreased attack, which we do have. But then you're missing out on the extra cleanses and the heals, and I just felt like she was a good safety feature to throw into the mix as a backup to help out Tuhanarak. So let's get into this run. Enough speaking YST. And guys, if you do want to see more Hydra content, please let me know. I'll be kind of looking to do more if that's something you want to see in 2023. So as you've seen there, we did have the block buffs and the decreased attack as an opener, allowing us to save our skills from our Ugo, so we can kind of cycle the abilities and keep the block buffs up 100% of the time. Now, Tuhanarak is about to take a turn, and if you pay close attention here, all of the true fears are going to get removed because she's the fastest in my rotation. And that is allowing us to not need an Inquisitor Shamail or like a perfect veil from a Duchess to counter the Head of Torment. So even if you don't have a Tuhanarak, maybe somebody like a Doom Priest in your team could really help you out in these rotations, granted she's the fastest in your team. And there you go there, decreased speed A1, but if we use that A2, we have that chance to spread them onto all other Hydra heads, but we've got Sneak Track in here just to make sure that it's more consistent. The Leeches is allowing us to heal by 18% of the damage inflicted, so that's kind of our main source of staying alive, alongside the ally protection and shields of Sneak Track to survive the big hits from Head of Wrath. And that's kind of what this team is based around. And I wanted to see how far we could get without any form of revivers. And I was actually pretty impressed with the outcome. And it's probably a team I'm going to start using every single rotation until I get to the Nightmare difficulty. So as you see here, the pure damage is going to be coming from Geomancer and also the smite debuff of Coroner and Snick Track. Now in this rotation, I'm not sure if Coroner is the best option because the main reason for him is in a taunting set, using the provokes of his abilities and also the provokes of the taunting set to keep Head of Decay under control. And I'm not sure if in this rotation it's the best because there's no Head of Decay on the opening segment. But once they start to spawn in, somebody like him alongside a Husk with the A1 will really keep this under control for me. But we're doing pretty well here on the brutal difficulty at 11 turns of 5 million damage. And then what I'm going to do is, guys, I'm going to let you guys enjoy the rest of the run. And then we'll come back to you towards the end so you can see it in action. And I'm not speaking over it the whole time. But I want you to pay close attention to all of the stuff that she's doing, the debuff spreads, and really optimizing our team to stay alive and let's take as many turns as possible when the Head of Torment is in rotation, or if we get provoked from one of the bosses, like the Head of Wrath. So enjoy the run, I'll come back to you towards the end. So guys, we are now just closing up the show at turn count 177. I think we get to around 180. We dealt 42 million damage, but we'll see this final result in a second. There we go. So 42.33 million damage dealt, well above the threshold that I need for the brutal difficulty, which is around 29 million. And Geomancer, of course, pumping out 15 million damage. Coroner doing 6 million as well. Ugo and Tuhanarak not doing a big bunch of damage. And that's because she's not hitting a lot, right? She's doing a lot of things with increased speed, allowing us to take more turns and allowing my other champions to deal more damage. And that's kind of the main source of her. Decreasing the speed of the bosses whilst increasing the speed of our allies, making them take more turns, leading to a better damage output. Also cleansing all of the stuff that we mentioned. Husk, of course, second in the damage category here at 12 million. And then 4.5 million on Snick Track, purely down to that Brimstone Blessing. So let me know what you think about this, guys. Are you impressed with how she was performing in this team? I felt like she did an amazing job. And to have no Inquisitor Shamail, no Speed Auras, no Revivers, I felt like she was one of the pinnacles in making this happen. And a big shout out to the, what's it called? The Skinwalkers for putting in the work as well. You gotta love them, right? So if you are interested in the champions that we use a Tuhanarak, of course. We use the Husk, which is in random gear sets, to be honest. I'm really looking to put him in Reflex at some point to get more max HP. Probably have seen like a 50 to 60 million run if he was. But he's got a 228 speed and enough accuracy to place the Provoke debuff on the A1. And then we had a Geomancer, which was this one, the Relentless build. He's going at around 231 and enough accuracy to place the debuffs. We then had Coroner in a Provoke set, mainly just to do AoE damage and lock out the Head of Decay like you've seen in the run, going at 245 speed, decent resistance and decent accuracy. Ugo was going at 244 speed and decent resistance once again because we got decreased accuracy of Geomancer's A1. So that was really helping us out there. And then we also had a Snick Track who had like high resistance, high accuracy, very similar build to Tuhanarak, but just a little bit slower so we could take a turn there. And was that everybody? I think that was everybody. Yeah. So guys, that is going to be all for today's video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know if you have this champion or want this champion in the future, if she was to ever pop up for like a guaranteed or something. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.